Hey, and welcome back to the channel. It's a lot of videos. This is like quite a lot that I've done quite recently. So today we're going to be talking about I don't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my defense. Now this is an anime that I watched when it first came out, and this was, oh God, thinking about it, like when it was getting dubbed type thing, it had to stop due to the pandemic that was going on. So for when I was watching this, I was just like, oh God damn. So it got to a point where they weren't dubbing any more of the episodes, and I had to stop because I didn't want to watch it in Japanese because I felt like I'd already started watching it in English. So it kind of dropped off, but obviously as things have cleared up, we've been able to kind of watch it now, and I'm absolutely like happy to kind of finish it off. Although I have some kind of like gripes and grimes against it, there's quite a few things that I think that this is a really good anime. Review's over. No, it's not. But I feel like there could have been like tons more stuff in this compared to what we had. So yeah, so if you like this sort of content, you like anime reviews, let me know down below what you want me to check out, what you recommend at least. And with that, why not hit the like button, subscribe, check out the merch and all that. And with that, let's jump straight into it. I'm going to refer to the main character as Maple because that's what she is in the actual series compared to what her real name is. But I found her an overpowered character, and I didn't like this at all because it's the sort of trope where it's like, hey, I've got no power at all, I'm gonna work on one thing, but then I'm gonna gain all the abilities that's gonna destroy certain things straight away, and rather than becoming a tank, you become a god effectively in the game. I got really annoyed with Maple and stuff like that. So I only got up to episode 8. Obviously, I've rewatched it. This does remind me of stuff like Sword Art Online or any MMO and that type of thing, which again isn't bad, but I feel like there's quite a lot to it. I think when I wrote this, I jumped all over the place because I just started writing the review when I started watching the last part. So I will say this now, the Orb Challenge was a mess story and felt like it was overpowered. And that's the main thing for that one. That's near the kind of end. This anime, as I said, is like an online game where you've got stuff like, how do I say, where you have online capabilities. It's all a video game. Everyone can watch. You gain certain stuff from characters that you get rid of and stuff like that. So with Maple, she doesn't want to get hurt, so she wants to instantly max out her defense, which I kind of thought, oh, that's fine. And then rewatching it, I was like, wouldn't you want something to move a little bit quicker rather than to walk? And I love the fact that all the characters that are in later on, either good or bad, all kind of interact very early on, which I didn't kind of know. So having Maple just max out a defense where she's killing small level characters, but gaining certain abilities to kind of up herself. So later on, she goes against like a Hydra type monster, and then as she eats away at it, she learns that poison doesn't affect her. She's able to absorb and get its attack and kind of carry on. And I felt like for a beginning character, this shouldn't have happened. I can understand about the poison and obviously not letting it affect, but I think it would be interesting to see a skill much later on, because for most of this anime, she just uses the same skill over and over and over again, and it really infuriates me because it feels like this is the path to being so overpowered you can't do anything. When it jumps into the kind of like tournament that they have, Maple is able to literally stay still where she is, and if anyone comes towards her, she can poison them, she can paralyze them, she can use the Hydra ability, which then disables other people. And I was just like, she's also able to absorb them, which then gets buffed because it becomes way too overpowered, and she becomes like third in this entire like tournament. And for a new character, I felt like if she got beaten and then came back into it, it would be fine, but she doesn't, and that irritates me on so many levels as this character kind of progresses. And especially, I'm going to be jumping all over the place, especially at the end where I thought that it could have taught her a lesson, but again, she becomes so overpowered that nothing can beat her. I will say at the very beginning, it feels like it's that sort of where you're playing a video game and you run into new things and you want to attack them and you want to take them down, and you get excited for doing it. It reminded me that of like online gameplay, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But at times there has to be kind of a limit where I don't think she ever dies, and that you kind of think that would be a main thing in this sort of thing, but obviously not. The animation, the comedy, and all that are fantastic. Like, there are moments in this where I did laugh and go, oh, I remember that. That's what it's like for when I'm going on like a quest in a video game. So I kind of thought this would be really awesome. And I did like the animation style. I think the animation style is very clean. The sound, the music is also kind of, it's there to kind of get you pumped to watch it. And it did, like, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the animation, I enjoyed the music, I enjoyed the story for what it is. I think it was just executed in different ways that I wasn't a big fan of. Sally is her friend, and I hope I got that right. Sally is her friend, and she wants to be this, like, the best thief, and she gets overpowered as well, but not as the same power as Maple, where Maple could solo everything in the entire anime and nothing would happen, where Sally does kind of get a few things, like she does get a few power-ups, but it's how, like, you see a versus like this fish monster later on, where you kind of think that she would have a timer for air and stuff, but it works out more in her favor, which to me didn't kind of work well. Like, again, I wanted to see them fail so that they could learn from their mistakes, but in this one it just felt like there wasn't, and that's what kind of generally irks me when you see these animes. Same thing as, like, you know, in Another World with my cell phone, Sword Art Online, Dragon Ball Super. These characters become so overpowered that sometimes it's not enjoyable, and you want to see them fail so that you can go, that's what it feels like, regardless to what actually happens, you know, through the actual anime. The main thing with Maple is that she gets all these new abilities, that she can turn Super Saiyan effectively, she can do like, she can do random things, and there's no drawbacks whatsoever, and that to me really kind of doesn't make the anime enjoyable, where you see characters like, say, in Dragon Ball Super, where Goku needs to beat someone, but he has to get beaten, or he gets slapped down so hard to the point where it's like, what the hell, but then he has that thing where he trains, he gets stronger, and then he beats it. That's fine, that's progression, that's character development, to some degree anyway. But when it comes to Maple, I hated it. I thought, this isn't it, this isn't correct. This is just a way of you becoming super powerful that your friends can't do anything. She gets the ability of, like, woolish or woolly, where she gets woolly armor type thing. It's basically, she's in the sheep's ball thing of wool, and that's it. Or she gets a flying turtle, or she becomes this giant monster that they had to put in to make her stronger. Even when they debuff her all the way through or limit her, she's still so powerful that it grates you to the point where it's like, why debuff her or limit her to certain things when she can just cakewalk the entire thing? Now, most of the characters I didn't have a problem with. I really liked half the characters. They felt like it would be your genuine party. Even the bad guys, I didn't really feel bad for the other teams because I was rooting for them. Secretly, I was rooting for them so that they could take down Maple and her guild, and that was it. The thing that really got me is when near the end of the anime I got bored because Maple all of a sudden, like, finds this mech armor, and she turns into, like, this, like, mech where she can control, like, you know, she has laser beams, she has rockets, she has bullets type thing. And I thought, why would you give that character that? It doesn't make sense in my eyes, because I feel like you've now just overpowered a character, but then overpowered character. So she could solo everything in the game, so tournaments become pointless because she could just go in and kill everyone and be like, oh, I've done this. So for her to keep getting power-ups, for her to keep getting these things, to me was just nothing. Like, there was no danger, there was nothing in this that made me go, oh, she's gonna die or she's gonna get hurt, because I know for a fact she won't. And especially when it comes into this tournament at the end, where they've got to get certain things like these orbs, as I mentioned. She goes against this other team, and, like, first of all, she goes into her Super Saiyan form, or whatever, her angel form. These two twins, which are pretty much fucking useless. But this knight at the end, but then Maple just turns into this, like, mech thing. And even when the person thinks she's won again, she just blows up, and it's fine. It's just like, no, Maple has no damage. Like, she just goes, oh, that's fine, just walking it off. But it's that point where she goes like, oh my god, Maple's turned into this mech armored thing. No one's ever seen this sort of thing. And I just sat there going, there's no point. What? you know that her team's going to win. You know that her team is going to do something that no one else does. And I think I've probably gone off the script. But I felt like there's nothing there. Like when you watch, again, Super, or when you watch Sword Art Online, or you watch an anime that has the main character get beaten, you root more for them because you want them to come back stronger than they were before. But in this, there was nothing. And I think that's what gets me kind of like a lot. When it comes to the yum 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 destroys the guy, and you're like, oh, that's done. That's fucking done. What the actual fuck? See, the ability I wrote down is atrocity. That's what it's called. And I was like, this is the whole thing is atrocity. It's not really. But I think also one thing that really irritated me are the two girls as well. Like they come along, I think they're meant to be super powerful. They want to take down people, but they got beaten really quickly. And they're more like, oh, it's like one got hit, so the other one has to run over and hold them and be like, oh no, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. And then they put their team members in there. Like you have one guy who's like a shield as well. He's like kind of a paladin and whatnot. And he's there and he's like protecting them. And I was like, you shouldn't have to protect them. They should be strong enough. But it was one of those things of like one got hurt, so they had to lie down for like 20 odd minutes while the other one cradles them and goes like, please don't do anything. And I was like, it's a fucking tournament. That's the whole thing. If this was a normal fucking game, you would be absolutely fine. But it's a tournament where they've got to win. So of course they're going to take you out. You're not going to die. You're just going to go back to the starting area. It really irritates me where it's like there is no drawback. And even at the end of the anime where you've got these other people that talk about it like, oh, what should we do with Maple? It's like, we can't debuff her because people will complain. So make someone stronger than her in the next season or the next manga. And make it better, because to me this really got to me. Now I will say this is enjoyable to some degree. Like I did enjoy watching it, but this to me is a background anime. I can put it on, listen to it in the background, and I wouldn't care. And I think that's the main thing, that once I don't care about an anime, I can slap it on for a little bit. I wouldn't be bothered whatsoever. And now I just kind of feel like I was let down by this anime, but for what it is, it wasn't that bad. I probably would recommend streaming it more than buying it, because normally I like buying my anime so I can actually like have a hard copy in case it disappears from Funimation. But to be fair, if it disappeared from Funimation, or now Crunchyroll, sorry, I probably wouldn't care. And this is something that I would pass up in the shop if I saw it as well. Just think, like, when it comes to anime characters, I don't mind the main character being strong, but when they're so OP as fuck, there's no point, there's no enjoyment, because you know that even if there's suspense, you know that the main character is just going to win. And I think that's annoying, where you want the main character to lose at times to show that they're strong compared to being like slapped down all the time. So I just hated this. Like, she won, cool, that was it mainly. But yeah, background anime, nothing major. This is available to buy in stores, link it in the description as well if you want to buy it from Amazon. But yeah, if you want to pick that up, pick it up. If you're not, stream it. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. What are your thoughts on this anime? Do you like? I don't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my defense. It sounds like a really cool anime name. I probably would check out season 2 if it happens, but I'm not bothered if there's not a season 2, and it's not on my high priority list. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you in a couple of days.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。